I mean, yeah, I think it's a concept album according to Green Day. You know, the new record, American Idiot. So it's, but I think it's still maintains the same energy that we have, but definitely like, there's definitely been a progression with every Green Day record, but I think this one sort of stands on its own. Yeah, I mean, the song American Idiot is more about just sort of the confusion and the current sort of state of American culture, American pop culture right now. It comes down to, anywhere from CNN to reality TV, getting sort of bombarded with useless information and product placement, and just sort of feeling kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. And that's sort of what the song's about. And it's totally self-deprecating and sort of pointing at current administration at the same time, because they don't really represent what I represent. So,
Mike, Trey, anything to add?
Absolutely. I mean, the United States is kind of a disenfranchised place right now, kind of a divided country. So, we just stick to our guns, which are basically instruments.
Trey.
no guns. Yeah. Well, I think that the American media sort of it's supposed to be the checks and balances of the government, but it seems so ready to sort of lay down and just sort of not answer those serious questions anymore, or ask those serious questions anymore. But like I said, I mean, basically it's just about the confusion in the whole thing, and and I think there's a thing like people sort of feel silenced a little bit because of they're just afraid to speak their mind and speak their opinion because it's looked at as anti-American if you do. Yeah. I mean, I think it's starting to turn around where people are definitely speaking out against Bush or whatever. But I think sorry, brain fart for a second there.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure.
I think people are sorry. I think people were at first afraid, after like 9/11 and the Dixie Chicks catching a bunch of flack for speaking their mind. But now people, it's like coming up to the election time, they're like really, really scared that he's going to be in another 4 years. So they're kind of taking it upon themselves to try and get people to the polls, like the punkvoter.com and Fat Mike, and these people are like really trying to make something happen.
I think the song American Idiot, it's not just something that's necessarily like a negative thing. I think it can be uplifting, and so to get people to rise up and really, say, yeah, I feel disenfranchised too, and something's got to give. I wouldn't say it was difficult. It was definitely a different. Yeah, it was difficult because it's like we didn't really have band practice. We were just sort of, because, I mean, after like 12, 13 years of having band practice together, we don't really need to have band practice, really. So we were, just going to the studio and just recording everything. It was like there was no rules, no limitations whatsoever. It's like anything someone wants to bring to the table, then, do it. And if that's not it, and, leave your ego at the door, and then, because that's going to be the beginning of something else, It's like a series of mistakes to find some sort of, make some sense out of it. Make some sense out of it,
Yeah, it was a very physical record too. I mean, like Billy's in his songwriting, he like sort of squeezed everything he could out of each song to make sure that there's nothing left to be desired.
I think we see eye to eye with Rob. He's a musician, and a really good musician actually. Just he knows rock and roll, and he sees it the same way we do in a lot of ways. So, and he helps us get whatever it is we want to get out there. As far as sonically for the record, he helps us get those sounds across. he knows the technical ins and outs of the studio really well. So
It's the same studio.
Yeah, he's also sort of like, he's a good coach, you know, he pushes you, and he's one of those guys that's like good at practically everything. So it's good energy to have around.
well, he's got this. The one thing he did have during this record, I think, is he kind of had this undying faith that it's like, no matter what you're doing, you just keep moving forward. You're doing good things. You're making good music. Keep moving forward. And there's moments of doubt and everything that whenever you take on something that big, we're standing at the bottom of this mountain and we got the base of it and we're going, we got to get to the top. He's going, well, you can do it. Everything's there. Go for it. Keep going. Keep going. And in your moments of doubt, you need that sort of thing, especially when you're taking on a process that's so long. But no, he's wonderful.
We would sort of, look at the record, and we would write everything down and sort of write down the storyline of where it's going, which was, kind of a trip to sit there and sort of look at a record on sort of on a chart or something, So it's, I just kind of kept writing, trying coming up with new ideas and, throwing things against the wall, see if it would stick, and then, and Rob was there to sort of go, yeah, that's working. It's like an outside objective point of view where we can be able to do the things we want, but we're not necessarily critiquing ourselves at the same time. He can, he comes in for that, and but it's like once you get into a record like that, because you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to make a record like that. As soon as you make that decision that you're going to make something that's more of a concept record or a rock opera, there's no going back if you're a quarter of the way into it, you know what I mean? Sometimes, anywhere. Usually most of the songs that I write, it seems like I write them when I'm going for a walk. So, I don't know, but writing from the road is kind of difficult because I don't know. It's hard for people to. I like for people to relate to the songs in a way where it's not relating necessarily like in just a hotel room or something like that.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, one song we have is called Jesus of Suburbia, and it's sort of a 5-part sort of mini punk rock opera, and it goes from it just follows the story of a kid that just becomes disenfranchised with his home and his friends and his family and his local 7-Eleven, and he's in a small town, and he sort of finds the strength to sort of escape and get out and sort of look for his a new path and find what his life and his own beliefs and try to find himself. And he's sort of faced with two different paths of like what could be considered rebellion. One side it could be self-destructive, or another side that could be his ideals. Oh, then there's the Homecoming, which it's without giving too much away, it's sort of the same character kind of comes back, and it's
Kind of coming full circle, and within that there's all sorts of realizations and it's just experience within that,
Mm-hmm. He's sort of faced with two different characters throughout the record too, and one is a guy named Saint Jimmy, and who's sort of the instigator of the record, and he's really a seductive person. And then there's another person in the song "She's a Rebel," which could be that's the other side that he could choose also. So it's like that's sort of one side is sort of good, one side's evil, and it's just up to him what he ends up choosing. I have no religious background, so it's sort of I don't know, religion according to Green Day, I guess. But I don't know. Since a lot of religious things have been coming up in pop culture lately, and especially in America, between maybe church and state a little bit getting confused in the government, I think it's appropriate in the record. Yeah. The record cover symbolizes it's the heart and the hand grenade. It's there's a theme throughout the record that talks about rage and love, and it's sort of, you know, that's part of, once again, part of the with the an ongoing theme that with the main character, and it's, you know, sort of about, like, you know, either heart can explode or you can hold on to it, you know, just sort of, it's you know.
Samuel Bayer was the director of the American Idiot video, and he, I mean, he's probably most famously known for "Smells Like Teen Spirit," which he's kind of got this really cinematic quality to all of his videos that I really like. You know, I think we all really like that. And then basically, he wanted us to kind of have a patent look, you know, like the movie Patton, and we're all standing in front of this, you know, vertical American flag. We said, well, why don't we change the colors to green? You know, we don't necessarily have to be that direct. And take from it what you will. I mean, the colors bleed. It can be anything bleeding from the flag. Plus, he really wanted to make this video something that had never been done before, and that is, like, he's got us all three playing at different speeds at the same time, which is also really, you know, it's pretty funny and pretty interesting. I would say it's a concept that's been floating around, but he's like, this has never really been done, and he couldn't believe it hadn't been done. So it was kind of nice to have an original idea that could be, you know, kind of humorous at the same time as, you know, as we kind of take a look inside ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think the record is sort of open for interpretation because, you know, a lot of our lyrics have always been personal, and just, you know, this is the first time we've ever been sort of outwardly political about things, about social issues, and so, but we don't want to sort of become preachy and turn into just more of a Rage Against the Machine, but, you know, which is great. I like Rage Against the Machine, but that's just not what Green Day does. So it's, you know, so there's still those personal relationships, and, you know, between, you know, men and women, you know, friends and family or whatever, that sort of make people who they are.
I don't think we've ever performed an entire album front to back before, but it's, you know, as ambitious as this album is, like, even, you know, in the writing and in the recording of it, it's like, well, might as well be as ambitious live too, and pull it off and kind of show everybody.
And we definitely want to book those shows as, you know, when Green Day's performing American Idiot. You know, we let people know it's kind of its own entity, you know, its own show at the same time. So.
Yeah, but, you know, it's a little scary to be playing an album or in front of people that have never heard a note of it, so except for the first single. But it's yeah, you know, something that we've always really wanted to do. You know, I mean, I think because of, you know, downloading and sort of what the singles market is, and sort of a lot of rock bands sort of stick by a certain rule of how to put out records. You know, the sort of the lost art of putting out albums. You know, I mean, that's the sort of the business that we're in. We're making, you know, LPs. So
Somewhat formulaic.
yeah.
I think so. I think we weren't sure if we were gonna maybe be alive this long, but
We certainly haven't done anything to stay alive.
but we've always been, like, you know, knowing that, like, as long as we're breathing and able to walk and talk and sing, we'll be playing music together. So.
Well, the sets have gotten a lot longer. You know, we're kind of stuck between playing the really old songs, maybe stuff off international super hits, or just, you know, maybe the singles that people know, American Idiot, and then, of course, we have to go and complicate it even further by wanting to play every single cover we've ever met or we've ever run into. So at this point, our shows can go anywhere from, you know, 1 hour and 40 to 5 or 6 hours.
I think that's what keeps bands together for a long time. You know, is playing, is that the fact that whether or not you can play live. You know, and then you end up through the years. I mean, we've been lucky. We've always managed to have songs on the radio and or on MTV. So you know, we've developed a catalog over the years, and you know, so it's great to know that when we're playing a song and people are freaking out, that we're able I know that the next song that we're going into, people are going to freak out when we play that one too, you know, and it just keeps on going and it escalates through the night, and I don't know, and I think that's really attributed to, you know, why we've been around for so long too, you know.
A lot of bands will make a record and then use the tour to support the record. We're more of like a live band. We've always been a live band. We kind of make the albums to support our live show.